Welcome to AutoDelightyt, a channel for car enthusiasts, and today we're reviewing this 2017 Nismo GT-R. Here I have before me every tuner's wet dream, which every tuner, every JDM head in the world would want in their garage. This is the famous the Nissan GT-R. Not just any Nissan GT-R, but the Nissan GT-R Nismo Edition. Every generation of GT-R has had a Nismo Edition, all being a little bit better performance, a little bit better handling, all tuned by Nissan's in-house tuner Nismo, and all just being great at what it does. And this is no different. This car has 600 horsepower of wholesome goodness. That the normal GT-R has 535 horsepower of wholesome goodness, which tells you the main difference between the two. On top of all the special goodies that you get with this Nismo GT-R, it's just the prestige of having a Nismo GT-R. But you also pay the price tag. A normal GT-R goes for about $110,000, somewhere around there, while the Nismo goes for over $200,000. Now, it's up to you guys to judge if the Nismo GT-R is really worth it. Today, I'm going to show you all the little features that this GT-R has, both exteriorly and interiorly, and how to tell the difference between the two, regular GT-R and a Nismo. And it's up to you to judge if it's really worth it or not. Well, I hope you guys enjoy it. Before we get into the review of our Nismo GT-R, let's go over the three different trim levels that were available in the 2017 model year. The first trim level being the Premium, second being the Track, and third being the Nismo Edition. Some feature standard on the Premium Edition is the Nissan infotainment system, which contains Nissan Connected navigation. It has an 8-inch infotainment screen, a push start, front and rear parking sensors, rear view backup camera, dual zone climate control, and lastly a leather interior. The next trim up from the Premium Edition is the Track Edition, which again is a little bit more track oriented. You get a dry carbon fiber spoiler, Nismo sway bars, Nismo tuned suspension. You get the special Nismo Forge raised wheels, which you see on this car right here, as well as a black and red interior. You also get black and red Recaro seats, which are pretty cool too. The next edition up from the Track Edition is the Nismo Edition. Nismo Edition comes with some cool features, including carbon fiber trunk, Nismo body kit that you see before you. It also comes with the Nissan tachometer and Alcantara wrapped steering wheel. Lastly, you get some special edition Recaro seats, which include a synthetic suede to prevent you from moving around while you're tracking this beautiful, beautiful Godzilla. The Nissan GT-R is powered by a 3.8-liter V6 twin-turbo engine. It produces 565 horsepower and 467 pound-feet of torque. Each engine is hand-built and commemorated with a plaque on the engine of the name of the engine builder. The Nismo GT-R contains the same engine, but tuned to 600 horsepower and 481 pound-feet of torque. The GT-R's engine is paired with a 6-speed automatic dual clutch transmission with manual mode. All GT-Rs come standard with an all-wheel drive, as well as a limited slip differential. The GT-R does hold a 19.5 gallon fuel tank and can get an average of 16 miles per gallon on city and 22 miles per gallon highway. Moving on to the exterior portion review, we're moving to the front of our GT-R first. The front of our GT-R, as you can tell, is a lot different than normal GT-Rs. It has the Nismo front bumper on it. The Nismo front bumper is predominantly carbon fiber, so a lot of the accents, rather than being black on normal GT-Rs, are all carbon fiber. You do have a lovely red accent that kind of started the trend for the red accents, like the Veloster N and the Honda Civic Type R. And even the Subaru Forester Sport, which has the red trim. Anyways, and it was a cool feature that Nissan started. You do have your GT-R emblem, which is predominant on all GT-Rs in every generation, and the only Nissan emblem you have on this car is on the trunk lid itself, and that's it. And you get this awesome Nismo emblem right here that tells you again that you have a Nismo. All ducts are functional on this car, except for this one, which was very interesting. The driver's side duct is a fake duct. It doesn't lead to anywhere. The passenger side duct leads to an oil cooler. Bottom ducts lead to your intercoolers, and then the top duct mainly for your radiator. Moving on to the hood of this car, you got two scoops on the top of your hood. The two scoops lead directly to the engine bay, so they are functional. And I'm assuming that it helps direct air towards the turbos to help cool the turbos down as well. Cooling is very important for track cars, and this car has a lot of it. Lastly, the headlights are a very beautiful design. They're pretty the same shape as every GT-R, but one of the cooler features is that it does have an LED strip right here, which separate the high beam, low beams from the turn signal, which was a cool little feature, and I thought that was pretty awesome. Lastly, you do have the parking sensors that are integrated that come with all Nismos, and they're all body colored. So you do have your body color on this one, and then a kind of like grayish black for the carbon fiber piece, which is a nice feature. Before we move on for the front, I forgot to mention, you also have a duct right under here. This duct leads to your brakes. That is a dedicated brake duct. Again, it's a cool little feature, and I didn't realize that it had it until I kind of looked more into the indentation of this bumper. And it's just awesome that they take into consideration, you know, cooling for everything for a track. Moving on to the side of our GT-R, you see some notable features. You see a vent over here on the fender, and for most, it would be a fake vent, but no, there's actual functionality on the GT-R. The vent is the same as the M3 vent, where it reduces wind turbulence within your wheel bay. So, yeah, it does that. It helps reduce drag, and again, it helps improve like airflow through that area too, so it helps cool down the brakes as well. You see the large 20-inch wheels? Yes, the GT-R has 20-inch wheels, aka dubs. Anyways, these are by Ray's Engineering. Forge wheels. Ray's Engineering is a very reputable brand, and it is cool that these have stock Ray's Engineering wheels. Housed within the 20-inch wheels are the large brakes. That's why you need 20-inch wheels. The front are 6-pot brakes with 2-piece rotors, and this is all stock too. And these are huge Brembo brakes, and we'll go over into the driving impressions, but during low speeds, they're squeaky as hell, but they clamp and perform really well once they're all warmed up. Moving on to the rest of the side of the car, you're gonna see some cool features. One of the cool features that I really like is the invisible A-pillar. You're gonna notice that the A-pillar is painted black, and it kind of blends in all the windows to the windshield, and it looks really cool. Kind of reminds me of like one of the old Batmobiles in the way it used to look like. The funny thing on the side of this car as well is that you only see one piece of plastic throughout this entire exterior of the car, and that one piece of plastic is right over here. It's kind of weird because they went out of their way to, you know, paint the side view mirrors, paint the hood or the hood scoops, but they decided, and they even paint the fender duct, and they decided to keep one part of this plastic. And unfortunately, they didn't paint the plastic, so it's like a really plasticky look. And I just kind of want to point that out. It's kind of like with everything else and how polished this exterior is, that was like the one thing that really annoyed me, to say the least. You get the cool Nismo side skirt. Again, you do have the red accent on the contour of it. And again, it's carbon fiber. So the side skirt is just beautiful. And it is, again, it matches the rest of the Nismo kit well. And the one thing also that I've been seeing a lot more of on body kits nowadays is that the side skirts and the rear kind of arch with the wheel arch. And you can tell over here that it kind of goes in a little bit. And a lot of like exotic cars do this, and you don't really see it except for like rocket bunny kit cars, where aftermarket kits kind of start moving in with the wheel arch as well. So it is a cool feature that this Nismo does have. Moving on to the rear, you do have, again, 20-inch wheels by Ray's Engineering. The GT-R does have a staggered setup, and the brakes, again, are still huge, 2-piece rotors, but on the rear, you do have 4-pot brakes rather than 6-pot brakes, obviously. So it is a cool little feature that, again, is very expensive from what I hear, but it's Ray's Engineering is just a top-end brand at Brembo, so you do get really good top-end parts on this car. Before I move on from the side of the car, I wanted to point out 2 other features that the side has. One, you're going to notice that everything is relatively flat across this whole surface. The B-pillar, instead of being external, is more internal, and so now you just get a really smooth surface across. Again, it's about reducing drag and reducing wind turbulence. And lastly, the door handle. The door handle is a very interesting feature. It was similar to the Tesla Model 3. Well, actually, the Tesla Model 3 probably copied off of the GT-R, but it is a flush door handle. And what you do is you push down on here to expose the door handle, and then you pull back on the door handle, and that's how you open it. And again, it is completely flush to the body. You got this little black button here, and what that does is unlock the car when you have your keys on you. So another cool little premium feature you have on the Nismo. Moving on to the rear of our Nismo GT-R, you get 2 big prominent features that you'll notice. One is the carbon fiber spoiler. Again, this is the Nismo carbon fiber spoiler. It does have an integrated third brake light, which is really awesome. But yeah, this thing is huge. And we'll talk more about it during the driving impressions, but it is pretty big. Anyways, and then you get the Nismo diffuser right over here. The Nismo diffuser, again, all carbon fiber. You get nothing, no black accents or anything, just all carbon fiber. You do have the red accents on the contours, on the side as well as the rear right over there. And it is, I love this Nismo body kit. And not just because it's just carbon fiber, but also because of the shape of it. It is just, I love functional body kits, and this body kit is just purely functional. You get perforated grills. Again, we've talked about this, but you do get a lot of air buildup under your vehicle, and that goes into the rear bumper. And if you don't have a proper diffuser to move that air and push it back and not go into the bumper, you just get a whole lot of drag. So instead of making a very big diffuser under the GT-R, you go ahead and you make your bumper perforated. That helps push out the air and not have air buildup and turbulence buildup right under your bumper. So this does a great job at doing that because it has a lot of vents. You also got vents on the side that again help reduce the amount of air that is getting stuck between or under your bumper. Then you have the exhaust. This is the only aftermarket part on this Nismo GT-R. It's made by Muse. It's an active exhaust system, and it sounds superb on this car. So I never heard the stock Nismo GT-R, but from what I hear from this should probably be stock compared to the stock one. This is just a really good active exhaust. Lastly, I kind of want to go over a few. You do have that Nissan emblem. The only Nissan emblem on the car itself is right here on the trunk lid. There's nowhere else that you see Nissan at. The Nismo emblem has the chrome with the red O, which is again very reminiscent to the GT-R with the chrome GT and the R being red. So it's nice, a matching look. And then you get the iconic GT-R taillights. very iconic taillights, and it is beautiful on this car as well. It's just a very fat butt on this car, and it's not really well rounded. It's kind of rectangular butt, but it is a nice butt. Very nice butt on this car. Before we end the exterior portion of this review, there was one big feature that I almost forgot to mention, and it was the trunk lid. Again, we already mentioned the carbon fiber spoiler, how huge it is, but one of the key features to the Nismo GT-R was also that the trunk lid itself is carbon fiber. So I got the keys here. We're gonna go ahead and open it up, and the trunk lid is very light for one, and two, it has the exposed carbon fiber all on the bottom of it. So it lets you know you have carbon fiber. And this was one of the cool things that I liked about the BMW i8 was that it showed a lot of exposed carbon fiber for, like, you know, just portions of the body. And I'm really digging that the fact that they didn't try to cover this up, and they just kept the dry carbon fiber exposed, and it's a really cool feature. Moving on to the interior portion of our review, before I go in the main cabin, I want to start with the trunk. I have my special assistant over here who is also my camera person, and she has volunteered to do this test. This is her segment, and this is her introduction. All right, let's go ahead and get her in the trunk and see what happens. All right, you ready to go?
Ready to go, let's go.
I'll help you. All right, it seems that she fits in this trunk. This trunk has a lot of space, to be totally honest with you guys. It's a very, very practical vehicle, and we could probably fit 2 or 3 of her in there, to be totally honest with you. But this already passes the Janelle test. Let's go ahead and get her out of here. Moving into our interior portion of the review for the main cabin, because we know we can fit a couple of dead bodies in the trunk, I got my handy dandy POV camera over here, and we're gonna try to get in the back seat, because this car has back seats, and when there's back seats, I gotta try it. Apparently that's my thing now. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get the POV cam started. All right, we're gonna watch the struggles here. So, one of the big things that were advertised with the GT-R was that it could fit full-size adults in the back. We'll find out if that's true. Right behind the seat, you have a little lever. Go ahead and pull that up, and that will move the seat forward. Now, I already know I probably will not fit back here, but we'll try it anyway. Okay, we got 1 foot in. We're gonna slide it. We're gonna slide it. Nope, not gonna happen. We're gonna have to adjust the seat forward using the adjuster. All right. Now I can slide right in. Oh, oh, oh. Struggles. All right. And I'm in the back seat. As you can tell, my head is already hitting the window. Like I am already, I can't sit up straight back here. We're gonna have Janelle, Janelle, go ahead and pull the seat back.
Okay.
All right. In its current position, I'm hitting my legs already against the back of the front seat. I have my feet tucked in to the bottom of the front seat, and I'm pretty much slouching over. I have zero headroom back here. I'm 5'7", and I don't think a person of my stature, or even a person that's like 5'6" or like 5'5", would even fit back here. There's struggles. So your amenities back here, if you decide to want to be imprisoned in the back seat, one cup holder. That is one cup holder, not two. So for the other person, well, good luck to them if there's two of you guys back here. This whole armrest is plastic, so you don't really get any comfort out of that. On the right side, you don't have any armrests here. You do have a little indentation, which kind of helps you out with like a little bit of room. And these seats are definitely too small for me. The bolsters of the seat are like jamming into the back of my back. You got your main Bose sub right here, I believe, and then you got more speakers in the back. But again, I do not fit back here at all. This is a very terrible and claustrophobic experience for me. And the fact that they said that people could fit back here is a terrible lie. You lied to me, Nissan. I had great faith in you. All right, time for me to go ahead and get out of here. So Janelle's gonna help open the door. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up on this lever and see if yeah, there was no way I was gonna get out by itself. So thank you, Janelle, for adjusting and sliding out. Oh God, that was a terrible experience, guys. Never have I struggled in a back seat until this one. Oh, that was terrible. Now that we know I can't fit in the back seat of a GT-R, let's go ahead and try the front seat. Of course, I expect to be able to fit in the front seat while I can drive the car, but let's go ahead and get in here. Turn on the POV cam too. All right, let's go ahead and see about fitting in the front. All right, and of course, as you expect, the front would be very easy. I'll go ahead and close the door. But the seats are very comfortable. Surprisingly comfortable for racing seat. If you are a little bit on the wider side, the seat might not be the best for you. But with my body type, the seat is pretty much hugging me. The suede in the middle keeps you in place, and it does really good to stick to you. And you stay in place, luckily, with these seats. So these seats would actually be really comfortable on even a racetrack. The interior portion is decent. If you're looking at it, you have Alcantara all on the top right here. Nice Alcantara on the headliner. So you get, that premium feel. Then you got leather, with red stitching across the door and across your dashboard. Then you got some basic Nissan parts, which is kind of entertaining to see in such a high-end car. So you share the same buttons as like the Nissan Sentra and the Maxima right over here. And, they take some of the interior pieces from there. Gotta save money somehow, right? Where you rest your arms right here on the side is a good, decent synthetic leather. It's not really that soft, but it does feel nice to rest your hand in. There's just no cushion like right under it. You do have some leather on the side as well, which feels good when you have to open the door and you can use your elbow to help push out. On the left side of the passenger, you have your main center dash. You got a normal e-brake lever, which I really like. I'm kind of happy this car is still using a manual e-brake. And then the main dash itself, the center dash, is carbon fiber, which is really, really nice. Overall, if you are expecting a premium interior, you're definitely not going to get it in this car. But if you're expecting an interior that is made with a specific function and purpose and still having some amenities, then you'd like this interior. It's purely functional. There's nothing really crazy or nothing really like premium about it. You do get the Bose audio, which sounds really good on the freeway. It does muffle a lot of the road sounds. but also it's not anything to wow at in this interior. All right, moving on to the passenger, or not passenger, the driver's seat. Let's go ahead and get in it. All right, now that we're in the driver's seat, of course, has the same seat as your passenger seat. So it is the same kind of comfort. You still have the same amount of adjustments on your powered seat on the Recaros, and it's in the same place on the left side though. But you do have the same amount of features as the passenger side, except for you can open both windows from here and lock them. Your instrument cluster is actually, I'm kind of torn in this instrument cluster. Of course, you get the Nismo tachometer, which is a nice red tack, but overall it is functional to what it needs to be. Let's put it that way. It is not in the best design, but it's not the worst design. You do have buttons that kind of reminiscent of like late 80s cars, where you have your trip meter, reset, and your illumination right here. And then on the right side, your steering wheel is Alcantara. So again, the Nismos come with the Alcantara steering wheel. A nice little thing is it does have the red little leather patch right here that tells you that that's at a 90-degree angle. The GT-R emblem once again. Again, you do not see Nissan anywhere else except for the rear trunk lid. Your steering wheel controls, all your volume, track up, track down, and your source can all be on the left side. And then on the right side, you do have your cruise control, as well as you can, we'll go over some of these, but like you can mark and start and stop like your track times and stuff through here. On behind the steering wheel, you do have metal shifters, which is really good, really awesome. I really enjoy the fact that Nissan went their extra mile to do metal paddles. Well, I don't think it is actually, no, it is metal. I think it is metal, or a very hard plastic. But it's not one of those flimsy plastics that, you know, other Nissans have, like what you see on the or on the doors. It does feel cold to the touch, which led me to believe it was metal, but it feels like a very hard but robust plastic. So I appreciate that they went kind of the extra mile to, you know, make sure that these shifters feel robust and you don't feel like you're going to break them every time you use them. Your infotainment system, again, it's an 8-inch infotainment system. It is a little dated. I haven't had experience with other Nissan infotainment systems, so my only like frame of reference is the one that we have in front of us, and it does seem really dated. Under the infotainment, you do have your vents and your HVAC controls. And what I like about the HVAC system, it is very simple. Even though I'm not really fond of the buttons, I prefer like the Miata air conditioning, the HVAC controls, where it's 3 knobs and it's just really easy to, you know, use, especially when you're driving. But the one over here is not as bad. The moment that you turn it on and turn on the vent and set your and percent on auto, everything turns on where it needs to be. You go ahead and put your defroster on, and it automatically goes from recirculation to vent. And then for the AC, you just press that to turn it on or off. So there's not too many buttons, but it could have been simplified better with just knobs. And that's just my preference. Moving down, you have some cool little triggers right here. So this is for your transmission. You can either go to gas save mode, which is down, regular mode in the middle, or you can go to R mode. R mode will set that into a much more aggressive shifting and higher or your car goes to higher RPMs. In the middle is your dampening rate. There is comfort, regular, and then R. And then the R is really like head-jarringly stiff. But comfort is like still pretty jarring too. We'll go over that during the driving impressions, but the comfort should not even be comfort. It's not really comfortable at all. And then moving to the right, this is your traction control system. And then again, you can turn it completely off, or you can go to R mode and it'll be a much more aggressive setup. You got your hazard on the right as well. Going further down from that, you got your start stop button right here. My camera person was saying how much she would enjoy if it had one of those lids like the Ferrari and you flip it up and then press it. And then you got your shifter right here in the middle. You cannot shift, if you're in manual mode, you can't shift it through the knob. You have to shift it through the paddle shifters. Going further down on the center console, you do have your infotainment controls. Again, you can rotate it, use it like a joystick, and then you press the middle for the OK button. You do have the back, your menu, and then voice controls, as well as going to your map. Then right next to that is the lovely Nismo sign. Behind there, you have cup holders, 2 cup holders. And then again, your manual e-brake lever. Being in the interior of this car, I mean, you expect the front seats to be the most comfortable. And I am really comfortable. I feel very secure in these seats. And again, I have ample headroom. It's just nice in the front seats, you know. But yeah, the back seats, for practicality purposes, the back seats are just completely useless. And maybe if you have like small children, they could fit back there. I was able to fit my nieces back there, but no one else can really fit back there, no adults. So again, Nissan lied to us about that, and I'm very saddened by that. I feel betrayed. So what is it like driving a Nismo GT-R? It's stupid fast. It is every tuner's wet dream to drive this car, and it will not disappoint any tuner that drives this car. It is ridiculously fast. It is a Nismo, so you can't expect it to be comfortable. I'm sure you guys just heard that, but the brakes are loud, the brakes are squeaky. What do you expect from like track brakes? You know, this car was meant for the track, so it throws away a lot of the creature comforts. So when you think of a Nissan GT-R, there's 2 things that you think of. You think of how fast this thing can go and how many cars it can beat on a straight line, but also you think about how well it handles. It handles extremely well, and it's known for handling well. The 2 contributing factors for this to handle so great is the Nismo tuned suspension, stiff springs and shocks, great sway bars, like really thick sway bars, and the all-wheel drive. The car is a rear-wheel drive biased car, but it splits the torque when it needs to the front wheels to make it all-wheel drive, and to run all 4 wheels, and to put torque in the proper inner or outer wheels to make sure that you have traction and that you have speed. And the car's computer does this extremely well. The car is super easy to drive. Like, it is insanely how easy it is to drive this car fast and to be good at it. It is, in my opinion, sort of a crutch because of how easy it is to drive this car, that it doesn't take a lot of skill to do high-speed maneuvering. For those of you who do back roads and to do, like, is a canyon carver, this car would be easy to take on those and take it fast. and not intimidate you just because of how well it can handle. But also that's a crutch too, because now it doesn't improve your driving school or driving skills. It's just how well the car can handle, and can give you a false sense of security, thinking that you're a really good driver when you're probably not. But on the downside of all of this, on the downside of how well it handles and how well you can maneuver, it sucks on the street. On the street, this car is completely terrible. It is the worst, one of the worst rides I've been in a long time. I wouldn't even compare it. No, I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna compare it to someone cutting the springs off their, suspension, but I won't take it that far. It's not that bad. It's not bouncy, but you feel every nook and cranny of the road. You feel every bump, and some of the bumps feel worse than they really are. The best example is there's like a small speed bump, and this over exaggerates how that speed bump feels, and it's hilarious of how you're in this cabin and how your head will wobble every which way on a decent road. So braking in this car is really good. Again, like a lot of the performance aspects I'll be talking about in this car, they're all really good. It excels in everything but like the comfort side of it. But again, you got this car because of how well it performs, and the braking performance is super good. You got 2-piece rotors, 6-pot front brake calipers, 4-pot rear brake calipers. They're all made by Brembo, so it's reputable, and they squeal like a banshee in hell at low speeds. If you have your window down, all you're gonna hear is ee, ee, everywhere. Oh my god, it's terrible. It is like borderline embarrassing. But again, I understand why they do that. These brakes at high speeds clamp extremely well, and they will stop you when they need to stop you. When you're going into a turn and you need to slow down, these brakes are the ones to do it, and they will do it, and it will do it over and over and over again. Like, these brakes are really well, they have great performance, and they're pretty durable. But on the flip side of that, again, because you're driving this on the street, all you're gonna hear is just squealing this and squealing that. It just sounds terrible, because these brakes are made for high performance, not for low speed performance, but more for high speed continual braking performance. What this car is great at is about what I want to demonstrate to you right now. That's what this car does great. High speeds. It is similar to an electric car in some sorts. You have torque when you need it. The transmission does a great job at downshifting and keeping you in your power band. And that's not even in R mode. This is just in normal driving mode. R mode is a lot more aggressive, where you can ride the RPMs a lot higher, and it will be more aggressive in downshifting, keeping you more into or further into that power band than what normal mode would do for you. But even on normal mode, this car just goes. You have 600 horsepower in this car. That is completely no nonsense crap for what you need on the road. For me, my safety zone is about 300 to 400 horsepower. That's all you need on the road. 600 is overkill. But let me tell you, when you have that one slow person in front of you and you see an open lane on the left, you will take it, and you will take it, and he will take and eat your dust. Eat that exhaust fumes and hear that loud exhaust passing. So to the normal driving aspect of this car, I talked about its performance, brakes, handling, whatnot. But driving this car on the freeway is kind of where it's happy at. It's funny to see your speedometer when you look down at it and know that you're probably going to spend 95% of its life in 1/3 of the speedometer gauge. your 0 to 60 is like right like this, and that's where you're spending most of your life. The speedometer goes all the way up to 220 miles per hour, and it's just hilarious that how often are you even going to get to midway, which is about 110, you know? Anyways, driving on the freeway it feels better for this car. It performs and just feels a lot smoother. It helps that most freeways have a nice smooth road now, so that helps contribute to the comfort level of where you're at on this car when you're driving on the freeway. But if you drive this car on the street, all you hear is squeaks, rattles, and like transmission noise, and the car like constantly shifting up and down. But on the freeway, it's kind of where it's definitely happy at, and it does tend to be a little bit smoother on the freeway. Internal visibility in this car is pretty decent. You have great forward visibility. Your rear visibility is blocked a little bit by the spoiler. It doesn't block it as much as I thought it would. You can still see, and at night you're counting on the lights to beam through or past the spoiler. But the spoiler isn't as intrusive as I thought it would be. The only problems that I have that I wish this car came with would be blind spot monitoring. You don't have great visibility out of your rear quarter panel. And every time I need to check my, like when I'm changing lanes and I need to check my like blind spots, the rear quarter panel on the passenger side does decently well. I can barely see out of the driver's side. So I tend to have to maneuver my body like forward and back to see through the mirrors or see through my side view mirrors of if there's thing in the blind spot. The one thing the GTRs are known for is, you know, giving you extra information. Luckily in the infotainment system, you can configure some of your screens to show different gauges. And some of the different gauges go with oil temperature, oil pressure, coolant temperature, coolant pressure. You know, boost pressure, fuel flow, all that, like you can configure it in that screen. But it also shows other things. You can do your lap times. You can show how much percentage you're depressing the gas pedal, how much you're depressing the brake pedal. It shows your the G-force when you're turning and cornering. It is extremely informative of what you can do and how customizable you can keep your gauge and what you can show on your screen, which is awesome because, you know, usually you'd have to buy stuff and, you know, have to install it and do all this crap to it. Luckily, Nissan was just like, hey, included in the infotainment. So one of the major gripes I have with this car would be the infotainment system. It's just dated. That's the only thing I can say about it. It's really just dated. It looks like one of the first generation infotainment systems. But you do have all the modern day needs. You got your Bluetooth, your auxiliary. You can even run media through your USB if you really wanted to. And it's just, the layout itself is just terrible. That's the only thing I have to say. It's just the layout itself. If it had a more modern day layout, or they just, you know, made the UI just a little bit updated, then it would be good. But yeah, it's terrible. So good job on giving us gauges, but you know, I could really use a better updated infotainment system. What's also surprising about this car is how cold the air conditioning is. We put the air conditioning on, you know, at the lowest setting. We usually just run 60 degrees, and it's only on one fan. You know, the one fan knob, or one, you know, the lowest fan setting. And it is cold AF in here. It is surprisingly cold AF in here. So the car is equipped with an Amuse exhaust system, and it is a great exhaust system. When driving this car, maybe because I'm just such a gearhead, I'm not gonna lie, I really geek out to like you know, exhaust systems and stuff like that. But with the way that the exhaust system sounds, it's like singing in my ears, and it's very soothing. And it's not to the point where it's obnoxious. It does get loud, but it just sounds so good loud, and it has a nice deep tone. It doesn't drone on the freeway. Fuel mileage is better than I expected in this car. I'm averaging about 17 miles per gallon, 17, even close to 18. I'm driving this car very conservatively. I'm not launching it all the time. I'm just launching it every other time. But I'm getting pretty decent gas mileage in this car, and that was surprising because, you know, driving the M3, I was averaging about, what, 16 to 17 miles per gallon, and I feel like I tend to smash in this car a little bit more than I did in M3, just because it's automatic. It's just easier. So what are my final thoughts of the Nismo GT-R? Should you get one? I wouldn't say no. Like, it is a fun car to drive, but you just have to know what you're getting yourself into. That's the biggest thing. If you know that you're getting yourself into a car that does squeak and rattle a little bit in the low speeds, and does lurch a little bit in low speeds, and, you know, you hear the squeakiness of the brakes and how stiff the ride is, if you know you're getting yourself into that and you still want this car, then I would say get it. It performs great. It gives you a very big ego driving this car because it makes your driving just 100 times better because of how well it does the computing for you. But if you're looking for a more luxury-oriented vehicle, especially at this price range, and that performs decently well, there are decent competitors out there. There is the AMG GT-R. There's even the just regular AMG GT. There is the Porsche 911. There are a lot of other competitors out there that will give you a more refined feeling. But that's not why you get the GT-R though. The Nismo GT-R is not for that refined feeling. It's for a track car. It's for something that you know will perform well and that will do well on the track. And the street is just secondary to that primary goal of the Nismo GT-R. After having this car for about a couple of days, I really enjoy this car. I'm the type of guy that I can take a stiff suspension. I can take, you know, the squealing of the brakes, and I don't mind that because I know the reason for it. And I really just enjoy this car. But to be totally honest, 200,000 is a bit of a stretch for what you get in this car. And you do have some minor things like the rear view mirror that came from a Nissan Sentra and some of the buttons. Oh, before I forget too, I am super annoyed by the door lock button on this car because the interior lights show the lock or the button where you lock it, but it doesn't light up the unlock button. And I don't know why, but that irritates the hell out of me, that it doesn't illuminate both buttons. But because I'm such a Japanese JDM head and I really like JDM cars and Japanese cars, I would definitely want one in my collection, but I wouldn't buy it because I love it so much. You know, it's just because I want it in my collection. Thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also check out my other reviews and other automotive content on my channel as well. Lastly, feel free to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or visit my subreddit. Links will be in the description below. Thanks for watching again, and have a good one.